Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, we're going to be looking at a new GX, a new Lycanroc GX. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you keeping count, that makes 3 Lycanroc GXs. Now, when we got our information about Team Up, the new set, our February set coming on the 1st of February, I shared that with you the other day. I said there was going to be a Lycanroc. Now, I also told you about GX Ultra Shiny, which is going to have a shiny Lycanroc in. And I can't remember if I said it on the video, but I certainly said it on the podcast this week, available on Apple Podcasts or at PTCGRadio.wordpress.com or on SoundCloud. I'll pop links to all those in the description. I said that it doesn't make sense to put shiny Pokemon into Team Up, because Team Up is our Tag Team GX set. We don't want to be popping shiny Pokemon in as well. From a marketing standpoint, that would be confusing. I also suggested we haven't had a Lycanroc GX Dusk form, so maybe that would be one. And it is. It's been revealed this morning. It's been translated by the lovely David Hochmann. So let's have a bit of a gander, shall we? Now, it is a fighting GX. Fighting Pokemon at the moment are good. It means you're hitting weakness on Zoroark, which is good. It also means you're hitting weakness on the aforementioned Pikachu and Zekrom GX, which will be out by that point and looks like it might be a pretty gosh darned good card. And it means that you get to use Diancie Prism Star, which means you do an extra 20 damage for your attacks. So quite frankly, being a fighting Pokemon at the moment is pretty gosh darned good. Now, 210 HP is slightly lower than things like Zoroark, but then again, the Lycanroc GX Midnight form had 200 HP, and the Lycanroc GX Midday form had 200 HP, so if anybody thought this wasn't going to have 200 HP, I've got bad news for you. The weakness to grass is alright. There's still a few people playing Tapu Bulu, but honestly, nowadays people are just playing Vikavolt with Rayquaza instead. And there are a few people still hanging around with Golisopod, but again, there's just not that many, to be honest with you. So weakness-wise, you are doing all right here. Retreat cost of 2 is a little bit awkward. So, let's have a look at the ability, shall we? According to the lovely David Hochmann, it says, once during your turn, when you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon in play, you may discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. It is literally Team Flare Grunt, but as an ability. It is any energy, not just basic, but it is only from the active rather than something like Crushing Hammer, which can discard an energy from one of your opponent's bench. This is really, really good energy denial. Although it's another one of those cards that just makes me think, gosh darn it, I really wish Devolution Spray hadn't been rotated. Because had Devolution Spray not been rotated, what you could essentially do here is just have 2 or 3 Rockruff on the bench, and then just keep evolving, and then using Devolution Spray to devolve, and then re-evolving and just getting rid of all of your opponent's energy. Now, this is clearly one of these abilities that could be over-the-top broken, but has been tempered in a way to make it good while not being over-the-top broken. Firstly, they waited till Devolution Spray was rotated, although to be fair, it is still legal and expanded. But secondly, it's only to the active. So your opponent can build up a Pokemon on the bench with loads of energy, and then use that to come and attack. Or they could just use a Golisopod for 1 energy, but like I said, not a huge amount of people are playing that. There is obviously a nice combo with the Midnight form here, in that the Midnight form drags Pokemon into the active with its Bloodthirsty Eyes ability, then you can get rid of the energy. And there is a nice little combo with the Midday form here. This was, for a short period of time, an energy denial deck, using Crunch for 2 energy to do 30 damage plus discard an energy from the active. Clearly this discards an energy with the ability, and we've got a nice energy denial deck going on here. I worry that this isn't enough. I worry that we're not quite doing enough here. Plus, there's a bunch of decks out there at the moment like Malamar and like Vikavolt, and when Lost Thunder comes out, Naganadel, which just accelerate lots of energy. Accelerating energy is something we do a lot now, and most of the decks that aren't accelerating energy are stuff like Zoroark or Buzzwole that do rock as single energy attacks. Now, to be fair, Buzzwole would need 4 energy to do its big attack. Even with a Beast Ring, that's going to be pretty awkward, trying to get to 4 energy while they're being discarded. And something like Zoroark, you're going to be discarding double colourless energy, and do remember that Special Charge and Puzzle of Time have both rotated out, making them much, much harder to recover. But then again, Enhanced Hammer would do the same thing as an item card if you're just looking to get rid of a special energy. So a useful ability, but I don't know if it's worth it, given that it's only when you evolve up, and it's only kind of once per Lycanroc. I feel like it might not quite do enough. The main attack here does 120 damage for a fighting and a double colourless. It's okay. I mean, look, numbers-wise, you're doing fine. It's easily enough to take out Zoroark. It's the exact right amount of damage to take out Pikachu and Zekrom Tag Team GX. It's alright. It does the numbers. You can use double colourless energy, which is nice. It essentially turns into a 2 energy attachment attack. It's fine. It's not a great attack. It's a very classic 1-hit KO if they're weak, 2-hit KO if they're not kind of attack. There will be plenty of games where you can take advantage of this. There are going to be plenty of games where you get big KOs with this. But you're hitting 120, not 130. So something like a Baby Buzz, hey Nick, you're not going to be doing quite enough here. I mean, I would say Shining Lugia as well, but Shining Lugia's actually got a resistance, so you're actually going to be 30 away from KOing that, not 10. So you only do 120, so there's a bunch of non-GXs you won't KO. With a choice badge, you can KO a Marshadow, but that is the only GX you're actually going to be KOing here. And I feel like I said this about the ability, but I feel the same about this attack. It's not quite enough. Sure, if you're hitting for weakness, you get a 1-hit KO, but for free energy, you can do that on a Buzzwole, and that has Beast Ring. And actually, with 4 prizes remaining for your opponent, you don't even need more than 1 energy. So it's fine. And it has got a different weakness to Buzzwole. And it is the exact same attack, but with 10 more damage than Lycanroc GX Midnight form. And it is the same attack as Lycanroc Midday form, but for a better energy cost. So lining up the 3 Lycanroc side by side, this is the best general attack, but it's still not amazing. Lycanroc GX Midnight form does not see play for the attack. It sees play for the ability. As for the GX attack here, this does 30 damage times the number of energy cards in your opponent's discard pile. This I love. I adore this. It's for 1 fighting energy, and it's going to get big KOs. In the mid to late game, your opponent should have 4 or 5 energy in the discard. This will build up quickly. As soon as they've got 8 energy in the discard, that's 180 and something like a Rayquaza goes down. And as soon as you add a choice band on there, you're up to 210 and something like a Zoroark goes down. I really, really like this. Plus, of course, you're getting rid of 1 energy using your ability, so that's going to add an extra 30 damage there. And there's plenty of decks around at the moment, like Malamar, like Naganadel, that are aiming to get energy into the discard pile so they can then accelerate that energy onto their Pokemon. And sure, they can accelerate the energy, but sooner or later, they're going to end up with energy in their discard pile. And when they have it in their discard pile and they can't accelerate it fast enough, you can really, really take advantage of this. I think this is a great GX attack. It's a very standard GX attack, right? It's like the ones we've seen a million times before. This should get you a 1-hit KO at some point during the game. This should be an, oh, now I can get a 1-hit KO. And sure, there'll be games your opponent can manage their discard pile well enough to avoid the KO here, but there'll be plenty of games where they can't. There's going to be plenty of games where they're unable to actually do this, and then you're going to be rolling. Sure, Malamar and Naganadel decks can accelerate the energy, but that puts them in an awkward position, because then when they're sequencing, when they're trying to run their deck, they need to be thinking, right, I cannot discard the energy until the turn I can accelerate it. I can't discard the energy knowing I'm going to evolve and accelerate next turn, because they're both stage 1s, because if I do that, I run the risk of having a big Pokemon KO'd in the meantime. That's what Lycanroc does. Even if your opponent can get around it, it forces your opponent into awkward decisions and awkward sequencing. I want to discard the energy of an Ultra Ball now, but I can't do it just in case. And that is a recipe for success for you. I love the ability, though I don't know if it's enough to play the Pokemon. I love the GX attack, and the general attack is better than either of the other two Lycanroc. But the thing is, Lycanroc Midnight form has always seen play for the ability. And I don't think this has anything that can challenge that Lycanroc in terms of awesome ability. I'm going to be giving it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. Oh, yeah, I should also mention it's a fighting Pokemon, so, you know, you can use Brooklet Hill. Being a fighting Pokemon is great, the ability is useful, the GX attack is great, and I quite like the regular attack. I just worry that it's not quite good enough. But maybe you think it is quite good enough, in which case tell me in the comment section. Go nuts, ladies and gentlemen, but please do remember the rule. Be nice. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, and do make sure you're checking out my other channel, Wassy Plays, for some Transformers TCG action. We're doing a bit of a deep dive lately, and it's awesome. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.